Warriors fan, stop everything now, because this news changes the scenario. Those of you who have been following game after game know exactly where this team was suffering. You know the pain of seeing games slip away, short rotations, forced decisions, and that uncomfortable feeling that there was a piece missing for everything to fit together. It wasn't effort, it wasn't talent, it was adjustment. And today, this adjustment finally happens. Warriors will announce a new reinforcement today, and it's not just any name. He is a player who arrives to solve a real, immediate problem, something that the fans have been asking for months. Stay with me until the end, because I'll explain who he is, why this signing changes the team in practice, and how it can transform the course of the season from now on. Before moving on, let me ask you something quick that makes all the difference. If you are a true Warriors fan who wants to understand what happens behind the decisions, not just what comes out in tweets, subscribe to the channel now. Leave a like, because this helps this video reach more people in the Warriors nation and ensures that the right information reaches first to those who really follow the team. Activate the bell so you don't miss any important updates, especially on days like today, when there are official announcements and big decisions. Do it now. And stay with me, because from here, I'm going to show you exactly why this reinforcement changes everything and what no one is explaining about this movement. Warriors fan, let me talk to you calmly, because what is happening now is not just another market rumor or another heated television debate. It's a clear portrait of where this team has come, where it's stuck, and the time that's slipping through its fingers. I've been following this team long enough to know that the problem was never effort. Never isolated talent, much less a lack of identity. The problem has always been the same. The clock doesn't stop, and postponed decisions exact a high price. In the last few games, you can feel it. You watch and recognize the patterns. There are brilliant moments, sequences that remind us of the best years, but soon after there are blackouts, wasted possessions, defensive failures on the perimeter, the difficulty in sustaining the level for 48 minutes. And this does not happen by chance. It happens because there is an excessive weight on the shoulders of a player who has already delivered everything he could deliver and still continues to play at an elite level. Stephen Curry isn't just the greatest player in franchise history. He is the emotional, technical, and symbolic engine of this project. And when discussing the current situation of the Warriors, you can't pretend that he is just another athlete on the squad. We are talking about someone who, even at the age of 38, continues to produce numbers that many players at the peak of their careers have never achieved. Absurd efficiency, refined reading of the game, impact that goes beyond the score. He still carries the team. And that's exactly why the debate got so heavy. What was raised recently is not a gratuitous attack on the board, is an uncomfortable but necessary question. How long can a team afford to wait when its greatest asset is on the clock? Because it's not just about age, it's about context. The NBA does not forgive hesitation. Title windows do not warn when they are going to close. They simply close. The current Warriors squad has good players. No one here is belittling this. There are useful pieces, intelligent players, athletes who on specific nights can decide games. But you, as an attentive fan, know that this is not enough. Titles are not won with flashes. They are achieved with consistency, with balance, with people who deliver the same level every night, especially when the game gets tough. That's where the frustration begins, because looking from the outside, it is clear that the team needs immediate help. Not of promises, not of long-term development, but of someone ready to contribute now. Someone who enters the court knowing exactly what they need to do, without demanding protagonism, without disorganizing the system, without creating internal noise. When the discussion about market movements arises, it does not come out of nowhere. It comes from this collective feeling that the team is always one adjustment away from being truly dangerous again. It's not about redoing everything. It's about correcting what's out of alignment, reinforce the weak point, relieve pressure where it is excessive. The debate that gained strength recently revealed something that many already felt. but few said out loud. There is a disconnect between the timing of the cast and the board's stance. While the team lives in a clearly immediate mode, decisions seem tied to a constant fear of losing assets, future choices, hypothetical scenarios that may never come to fruition. No one is asking for irresponsibility. No one is advocating trading everything on impulse. But X. There is a huge difference between caution and paralysis, and this line seems to have been crossed at times. Opportunities have passed. Players who make a difference today on other teams were within reach. And, looking back, one is left with the bitter feeling that the cost of not acting was greater than the risk of acting would have been. This context explains why any news about possible reinforcement gains so much weight. It's not just about the name, it's about the signal. It's about the message it sends to the cast, the fans, and, most importantly, the Curry itself. Acting now means saying, we know where we are and we know what needs to be done. Delaying again means accepting competitive mediocrity as normal. When we talk about fit, about fine-tuning, we are talking about a player who can support defense on the perimeter, who is not constantly exploited, who helps to close spaces, and at the same time does not hinder the offensive flow. Someone who knows how to play without the ball, who takes advantage of the shots generated by the attention that Curry attracts, who accepts the role of complement without disappearing in big moments. This type of player is not glamorous. It doesn't make for exaggerated headlines. But it's exactly the profile that champions tend to have around their stars. It's the kind of play that, when it arrives, makes everyone play a little better. The rotation gains balance. The defensive effort is no longer desperate. Decisions become simpler. At the same time, there is an inevitable argument about who leaves, and that always creates discomfort. Young players carry hope. Potential enchants. But potential doesn't win playoff series alone. There comes a point where the team needs to decide whether they are building for the distant future or whether they are respecting the extraordinary present they still have. This choice is tough. It involves admitting that not all talent will develop as imagined. It involves understanding that maturity, reading the game, and accepting a role are often worth more than athletic explosion and promises. Times campeões sabem disso. They don't just fall in love with what might be. They value what already is. There is also the emotional factor. Locker rooms feel when decisions are postponed. Leaders notice when requests go unheeded. It's not about bossing the team, it's about being respected as someone who deeply understands what it takes to win. Curry has already proven that, repeatedly. Ignoring your perception is not just a strategic mistake, it is an institutional risk. And while all this happens, time goes on. Every season counts. Every wasted window weighs heavily. Waiting for a perfect move, for an ideal scenario, may be comfortable, but it is rarely realistic. The NBA doesn't work like that. Big moves are often born from imperfect decisions made at the right time. That's why this possible movement generates so much expectation, not because it solves everything alone, but because it represents action, represents scenario reading. It represents acceptance that now matters, that the legacy is at stake, that you can no longer take the last few years of Curry elite for granted. If this reinforcement materializes, it will not arrive as a savior. He arrives as a facilitator, someone who allows the system to work better, which returns clarity to the rotations, which reduces defensive holes. That turns narrow defeats into managed victories. And that changes everything. Changes confidence, changes the posture on the court, changes the way opponents view Warriors, because when this team is balanced, nobody likes to face them. History has already shown this. What is at stake now is more than an exchange. It is the definition of an identity for this end of the cycle. Either the team accepts that it is in winning mode now, or it accepts that it is just prolonging a silent transition. And the fans notice that, always understand. That's why this moment is so sensitive, so discussed, so loaded. It is not empty noise, it's a legitimate charge. It is the reflection of those who understand that opportunities like this are not easily repeated. If the board acts, the message is clear. We are still here. We still believe. We will still fight. If you don't act, silence will speak for itself, and then there will be no speech to support it. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe that this movement is the adjustment that was needed, or do you think the team should wait for something bigger, even at the risk of wasting precious time? Comment below, because this conversation doesn't end here. And if you want to continue following everything with context, analysis, and without noise, stay with me, because this story is still far from over. And that is exactly why this movement cannot be treated as just another piece of market news. It represents a crossroads. Either the Warriors accept once and for all that they are still in title mode, or they accept that they are letting time decide for them. Every game, every week, every decision weighs when you have a Caleb player redo Steph Curry living his last years at an elite level. You can't push with your belly, you can't wait for the perfect scenario. Who wins in the NBA is who acts at the right time. If you want to continue following everything that really matters about the Warriors, with analysis, context, and behind-the-scenes reading, without noise and without empty headlines, the next step is simple. In the pinned comment, there is the playlist Golden State Warriors News Today. There I gathered all the videos that explain what is happening now, what could happen in the next few days, and how each decision directly impacts the future of the team. Click on the playlist, watch the next video, and stay with me, because this story is being written in real time, and the next chapters could completely change the course of the season.